In the history of British computing, there is no tale more wild than the Battle of the Boffins. It happened around Christmas time at the Baron of Beef pub in Cambridge, way back in 1984. Sir Clive Sinclair, still vexed at losing a potential goldmine contract to produce the computer of choice for the BBC's line of educational TV shows on computers, had recently seen a line of adverts that were coming out of Acorn computers. These ads implied that Sinclair's computers had a high failure rate, while Acorn's were sturdy and reliable. Oh, and just to rub a little bit more salt in the wound, it was Acorn who got the BBC computer gig. When Sir Clive Sinclair, known affectionately by Sinclair's fans as Uncle Clive, walked into the Baron of Beef pub, he saw that Acorn's Chris Curry was already in there. It was at that point that vexation turned to violence. I don't claim to know who threw the first punch, but the blow went down in history. Newspapers ran with the news that two grown men, two captains of industry, two very smart gentlemen who should have known better, got into a fight in a pub. Because these two men were such giants of the computing industry, there was, of course, a game based on some of the events. Let's have a look at it today. Electro Freddy is one of those arcade-style early computer games, single-screen affairs, and it was based on the now infamous rivalry between Sir Clive Sinclair and Acorn's Chris Curry. The names had changed, just to protect the innocent, you know, but the events are obvious to anyone who knows what's going on. And when you see the game and see the plot, you'll realise why this game never got a Spectrum release. You play as Freddy, a young employee at Syncrum Research, a clear pastiche of Sinclair Research, and their best-selling product, the ZX Spectrum. Freddy is a names change to protect the innocent stand-in for Chris Curry, just in case you hadn't spotted it. Anyway, Freddy has heard that his employer, Uncle Claude, yeah, it's that kind of game, is going to increase his product's prices, and apparently that could lead to job losses. So now Freddy has been chosen to pack up all the products before the prices can be increased, and to ship them out to the shops. How this is supposed to help is beyond me, because basically you're nicking stuff. But we're in the realm of video game logic here, so we have to let a few things slide. Anyway, somehow Uncle Claude has gotten wind of your plans, and he's in the warehouse too, ready to stop you. Uncle Claude has three ways to stop you. He can touch you, which apparently is enough to kill you. He can fire his Spectrums, yeah, another veiled reference, not very veiled, to the ZX Spectrum. He can fire them at you, and they will kill you. Or, and here's the funny one, he's contracted out a hit on you, and Satsuma Inc. have managed to pick up that contract with a very strange idea. They're going to squash you by dropping Orax on you. Yeah, this one is probably the most unknown of the computer references for the game, because in 1982 Tangerine Computer Systems released the Oric 1. That's the computer that's being parodied here. It wasn't very popular, and by the time the game had come out, Tangerine Computer Systems was bust, but that is what they're going for here. So gameplay-wise, it doesn't really change from screen to screen. There are 4 screen types, ranging from an open room to a maze-like series of chambers. After each block of 4 rooms, they will start again from the beginning. Occasionally, though, you'll see a force field at the bottom of the screen, because apparently Uncle Claude has access to advanced technology. He's not selling it, he's just got it. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to push every product down the screen onto a conveyor belt. Occasionally, you'll get the opportunity to crush Uncle Claude under his own produce for bonus points. This won't stop him, however, because it seems he's either immortal or he's got an infinite supply of clone bodies that he can download his mind into. Again, he's not selling this, he's just got it for himself. A custard pie will appear randomly in the top right corner of the screen. Eating this will give you extra points, which is very nice because you get an extra life for every 5,000 points that you accrue, and pushing produce or crushing clods will not get you there all that quickly. Once you've dodged the oryx and pushed all the produce, a key will appear in the top left of the screen. Grab it, and we're on to the next level. Once you've seen all 4 screens, there's not an awful lot else that the game has to offer. Different produce on every level, and there's 15 levels in total, but because the screens repeat every 4, it gets a little bit samey. Nevertheless, it's one of those games that I adored when I was a kid, and it's stuck with me ever since. It's fun, it's decent arcade action, and I really like it. But here's the thing, I played this version, the one that we've been looking at, the Amstrad CPC version, and I always thought it was just one of those funny Amsoft games that was developed to show off how the computer works. But apparently I was incorrect. This isn't the original version. The original version came out on the BBC. The BBC Micro being, of course, Chris Curry's Acorn Computers, their big machine, the one that got the contract for the BBC's TV shows. Seems a bit weird to have that out on there, doesn't it? Until you know the background of the game and what it's actually about. Then it all becomes clear. So, shall we take a look at it and see if there are any differences? In the BBC original, you don't play as Electro Freddy. Instead, you're Micro Mickey, and the owner of the warehouse isn't Uncle Claude. He is in fact Electro Freddy. Yes, in the original version of the game, he's the baddie. The game's named after the bad guy, not the hero. Oh, and he doesn't fire spectrums in this version. He throws Amstrads, a clear reference to Lord Alan Sugar and his line of computers, which wouldn't actually have been due to be released until around the time that this game was developed, so it was new stuff in the news. The computers that drop from the top of the screen are now called Acorns, which seems very strange since this is running on an Acorn system, but hey ho, here we go. There's a drop shadow on the status line, which makes the score look even more visually interesting. However, this is countered by the fact that Micro Mickey is somehow even more garishly dressed than Electro Freddy was on the CPC port. But the rest of the game is essentially the same. The products are different, but that's about it. The game plays to the strengths of both the CPC and the BBC, using bright colours and not requiring the screen to scroll, so all the differences, well, they had to be purely in the visuals department. The BBC is using a screen mode that is slightly more high definition than the CPC's high colour mode 0, so some of the images are a little bit sharper, but aside from that, it is essentially the same game. As I said, this was a classic that I absolutely adored as a child, and I would love to see it come back for a new version. I'd love to see something like an endless mode. You know, the type of thing where the products keep changing every level and it speeds up and it speeds up, and sometimes you have the force field there and sometimes you don't. Maybe Sir Clive gets a bit faster or more oryx drop from the top. Did I say Sir Clive? Sorry about that. Of course, we're talking about Uncle Claude. But yes, I would love to see something like that. I think it would become an absolute classic for all time, rather than being something that is a nice hidden gem on some old computers. But that really is all the time. Whoa! 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 Guy! Whoa! 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 Whoa!
So it was you.
Whoa! Dude, stop! What are you doing?
After all these years, I found who pinched my products and punted them to the pushers.
What?
Don't play dumb with me, lass. I heard your confession. Now feel the power of my spectrums.
Well, two can play that game. Well guys, thank you so much for joining me. I hope that has been a fun look at a classic game. Until next time though, I've been Zoe Kirk-Robinson, you've been watching GameHammer. Keep it retro and I'll see you next time. If you like the show, please consider supporting me on Patreon. It really does help create future videos. That's patreon.com/Zoe Kirk-Robinson. And I've got an extra special thanks going out to Chief89, Sam Yates, Retro Mickey 82, Mo Henry, and George Botterini. Thank you so much, guys.